Looking back on it now, it feels like one of those wild stories you hear around the campfire, the kind that starts with everything going to hell and ends with you wondering if the universe has a twisted sense of humor, or maybe just a really good plan. My name's Jack, and I live in this quiet little suburb outside Seattle, the sort of place where folks wave hello but keep their noses in your business just a tad too much. It all kicked off about 2 years ago when I lost my job at the tech firm downtown. Layoffs hit hard. And suddenly I'm staring at bills piling up like autumn leaves, wondering how I'd keep the roof over my family's head. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. The real gut punch came from my neighbor, Karen. Yeah, I changed her name, but trust me, she fits the stereotype to a T. She'd been eyeing my backyard for years, claiming my fence was encroaching on her property line by a whopping 6 inches, all because she wanted to expand her precious garden that nobody cared about except her HOA buddies. The homeowners association here is like a mini mafia, run by a few power-hungry types who love slapping fines for the dumbest reasons: grass too long, mailbox the wrong shade of blue, you name it. Karen, being the queen bee on the board, had this personal vendetta. Turns out, years back, I turned down her offer to buy my lot cheap when I first moved in, and she never let it go. It was all about control, that old grudge festering into something ugly: land, ego, and a dash of small-town jealousy. One evening, she shows up at my door with this smug grin, papers in hand, flanked by the HOA president, this guy named Bob, who looked like he'd swallowed a lemon. "Jack," she says, voice dripping with fake sympathy, "we've measured it again, and your fence is definitely over the line. It's a violation, and with your recent financial troubles, well, we might have to escalate this to liens on your property." I stood there, heart pounding, trying to keep cool, but inside I was boiling. "Come on, Karen, this is ridiculous. You both know it's not about the fence. You just can't stand that I said no to your lowball offer back then." She laughs, that sharp, mocking chuckle. "Oh, honey, it's all about community standards. If you can't maintain them, maybe this neighborhood isn't for you." Bob chimes in, all official-like. "Pay the fine or face foreclosure proceedings. Sorry, just enforcing the rules." It felt like a punch to the gut, watching them walk away, high-fiving like they'd won some game, while my world crumbled. Me wife, Sarah, crying in the kitchen, our kids confused, and me feeling like a total failure for not seeing it coming. That night, I paced the living room, replaying every missed opportunity, every tear Sarah shed over the stress, the way the kids' laughter had faded into worried whispers. Loss hit me like a freight train, not just the house, but the dreams we'd built there, the late-night talks on the porch, the sense of security I'd fought so hard for after growing up dirt poor. I questioned everything. Why me? Was this karma for some old mistake? The ache was deep, whispering that I'd never bounce back, that my best days were buried under that damn fence dispute. But in the quiet, something shifted. I remembered my grandma's old Bible stories, the ones about folks like that guy who lost it all but got double back. And I thought, what if there's more to this? Desperate, I started praying, not the fancy kind, just raw, honest talks with whoever was listening up there, pouring out the hurt, the anger at Karen's manipulation, the fear of starting over. Then came the twist, the part where life throws you a curveball you never saw coming in. Honestly, it's where the story gets a little funny in hindsight. A few weeks later, scraping by on odd jobs, I get a call from an old college buddy, Mike, who's now a hotshot lawyer in the city. He'd heard about my mess through the grapevine, small towns talk, right? And offers to look into it pro bono, saying, "Jack, these HOA tyrants think they're untouchable, but let's dig a little." Turns out, while reviewing the property records, Mike uncovers some shady stuff. Karen and Bob had fudged surveys years ago to grab bits of land from multiple neighbors, including mine, all to boost their own property's value. It wasn't just personal, it was a full-on scheme, motivated by greed and that intoxicating rush of power over the little guys like me. We built a case, quiet at first, gathering statements from other folks who'd been bullied: old Mrs. Thompson down the street, who'd lost her garden shed to similar violations, and a young couple who'd moved out in frustration. The confrontation? Oh man, it was straight out of a movie. We called an emergency HOA meeting, and there I am, standing up with Mike by my side, laying it all out. Karen's face goes pale as I read the evidence aloud. "You thought you could push me out, Karen, but look at this, your own altered documents, backdated to cover your tracks. She stammers. This is outrageous. You're twisting facts. But Bob cracks under the pressure, blurting out. It was her idea, I just went along. The room erupts, neighbors gasping, some cheering quietly, and in that moment, the tide turns. We didn't just win. The court slapped them with fines, forced them to resign, and awarded me damages enough to not only keep the house, but buy the adjacent lot Karen had coveted, turning my backyard into a family oasis with a pool and everything. Walking out of that meeting, seeing Karen slink away, defeated, muttering under her breath, it was satisfying. Yeah, but deeper than revenge. It was like breathing fresh air after being underwater. My losses? They didn't vanish, but they transformed. The job loss led me to start my own consulting gig, thriving now, and the family bonds? Stronger than ever, with Sarah and the kids turning the ordeal into inside jokes. Like, remember when Mom turned into a detective over those surveys? I look back and see how the pain pruned away the junk, making room for growth I never imagined. Wiser, more grateful, even finding a quiet faith that feels real, not forced. But here's the thing that keeps me up sometimes. Was it all fair? Karen lost her standing in the community, sure, but is public humiliation true justice, or just another cycle of hurt? And what about HOAs? Are they protectors, or just bullies in disguise? I mean, in my case, it worked out, but for others? It makes you wonder if these neighborhood power plays ever really end, or if they're just setups for the next drama. Anyway, if this hits home for you, drop a comment below. What's your take on neighborhood feuds? Or have you dealt with an HOA nightmare? Share your stories. Let's chat about where real justice fits in all this mess. Hit that like button if your team come back, and subscribe so you don't miss the next tale. Who knows, it might be yours. Thanks for listening. Talk soon.